George Hejduk, call the place. See, before I start, I asked the mayor before the meeting if he could change the agenda so I could speak my 3 minutes and not wait around for 4 hours. It was his decision that no, you can't. You're going to wait around so you and maybe one other speaker can waste their night, not wasting their night listening to the surfer people. I'm not a surfer, but I agree that the Swamis should not have a surf contest for one reason or another. Poor time to ponder a pay raise, editorial in one of the local papers. I have no personal vendetta in the following, but I believe some people are overpaid. Let's see. We have here a city manager who was a former director of our public works department. And a retired military officer with, I'm sure, a sweet pension. Then appointed city manager without any city managing experience, but was an in-house appointee under the guise that this was a cost-effective move, as it would be too costly to hire a city manager headhunting firm with all of its implications. Then 9 months later, he was handed a glowing report by you with an associated $33,723 pay raise, bringing his salary to $216,605 a year, which we were informed was in line with 10 other city managers using a dubious comparative salary calculation. Now you recommend that our highest paid city public servant be given an 11% salary upgrade of $21,849, with his total compensation swelling to $242,640 as egregious affront to the public as they contemplate his salary, benefits, and what will be in the future a king's ransom monthly retirement check coming out of the city's future treasury. Where's the money going to come from? So in less than 4 years on the job, he is to be given a total raise of $55,572, or an average of $13,893 per year. It is no wonder that you need to approve every downtown Encinitas gargantuan building project with its anticipated tax revenue, as well as every racketeering shakedown $436 red light camera violation fee, which you promised to study on, and if there wasn't a significant reduction in accidents, would it be eliminated? Where is the report that Mayor Dowager recently requested city staff to produce? I asked for it over a year ago. Councilmember Stocks relates that our city only receives $80 from the extortionistic tickets. $80 is $80. That means that law enforcement, the state, and the camera company are really cleaning up, especially since 90% of the tickets are for rolling stop right-hand turns, which have nothing to do with mid-intersection violations. Just think of the financial difficulty a person earning $21,849 a year, which is our city recommended current raise, a year has to endure after receiving a $436 red light camera ticket with associated traffic school fees to avoid insurance increases. That $21,849 is the amount you're proposing to give to the city manager as just a new raise. Let me ask you this. If you were to do the opposite and requested that what we are led to believe our irreplaceable city manager take an 11% decrease in pay, do you think that he would feel so slighted in these difficult economic times that he would quit? I don't think so. I'll bet that if you opened up the city manager's job at the current or even his original salary, you'd be overwhelmed with qualified applicants wanting to go through the process. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we extend the meeting to 10:15.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's get this going.
Okay,
All you
Tony.
have to do, Mayor Dowager, is give me a lousy 4 minutes, and you made me wait around here for 4 hours.
Good evening, Tony Kranz, 1086 Hygeia, and I rise again tonight to object to the pay increase for the city manager. following the theme of the last 3 minutes of comment that I made, I also would like to try and keep this from being personal, because I recognize that the city manager has done a pretty good job. So meanwhile, last time I was here, I brought along a chart that showed that the public sector employment was rising at a greater rate than the private sector. And so that was number one argument. Number two argument, now that I've seen the comps, is that the comps are cooked. That just because they're cities in Southern California doesn't mean that it's a comparable job. So what I've done here is I've taken out of Wikipedia the population of all those cities, and I've divided the compensation of the city managers to come up with a compensation per resident, to kind of to skew this appropriately. And in fact, city manager in Encinitas is pretty close to the top. So, you could argue, well, this isn't really legitimate. You throw out the top ones, you throw out the bottom ones like I think the real estate appraisers do, and maybe it's not perfect, but it's still pretty close to the middle. And, to use Oceanside, Escondido, and Carlsbad would be a little bit like using a 5,000 square foot house as a comp for a 2,000 square foot house. So once again, I think that aside from political correctness, which really it's not political correctness, it's just smart, it's prudent. This is a discretionary raise. You should use your discretion and say, thank you, Mr. City Manager, you're doing a fine job, but right now is not a good time for a raise, especially since the gentleman has himself said, I won't take a raise. He was more interested in making sure his employees were taken care of than himself. Hopefully that's been done. But meanwhile, I say, honor the man's request and don't give him a raise. Thank you.
Please leave.